Hello there. I hope everybody's ready for another one of my written stories. I don't have a date on when I wrote this one, but it had to be 10, 15 years ago. Well, more than 10 years ago. I've been home 11 years. So I probably wrote this about 15 years ago while I was incarcerated. And this is only the third story that I'm reading into my YouTube channel. Usually I just tell my stories, but this one I wrote, and it's meant to be a little funny. One thing about me, I don't edit my videos. I don't go back and edit them and watch them. I just go through it, and it is what it is, and hopefully they come out all right. So I'm going to read you this story. It's a true story. That's all I write is nonfiction. The title is a little bit funny, so please forgive me if the title sounds a little bit vulgar, but this is a story about my bad luck in the prison system, and it's called If It Were Raining Pussy, I Would Get Hit with a Dick. That's the story of my bad luck. All right. So here it goes. I apologize if that's the name of the story. If it was raining pussy, I would get hit with a dick. How can I elaborate on my reality in layman's terms? This is a writer's greatest challenge. I have a saying to help others decipher my bad luck. If it were raining pussy, I'd get hit in the head with a big cock. That's correct, my friends. If beautiful vaginas were falling from the sky, I'd get hit in the face with a big dick. With my luck, probably a black one. So allow me to provide you with my recent and ongoing circumstances. I hope you enjoy. On July 27th, 2011, I was transferred from Mid Orange Correctional Facility to the prison I now write from, Wallkill Correctional Facility. This move in itself is like going from the penthouse to the basement. The negative changes are too extensive to list. In providing you with a few examples, in Mid Orange, there were men serving life sentences and men who have already served major prison time. This means they knew how to carry themselves with respect. Here in Wallkill, I'm surrounded by punk ass, ignorant, punk ass kids who are serving sentences of 1 to 3 years, 2 to 4 years, and they have absolutely no idea how to properly serve time. They are dirty, ignorant, loud kids who think serving time is a joke. In Mid Orange, there were washers and dryers we could wash our clothes in. Here, nothing. In Mid Orange, there were gorgeous trees, cats, dog program, deer, squirrels, raccoons. Here, there's cement and brick. These are only a few significant things. Upon arriving at Wallkill, I was placed in a two-man, double-bunked room with a guy that came from Mid Orange with me. Before we left Mid Orange, I said to my friend, with my luck, I'm going to end up double bunked with the black fag, Dave. Well, what do you know? I'm in the room with the black fag. If it were raining pussy, I'd get hit in the head with a cock. One thing that's impossible to explain to people is ignorance. How could I explain it? I'll help you understand providing you with some facts. Let me give you some insight into my wonderful bunkie. He's a 44-year-old fag who talks in the voice of a little girl. Because he can hardly read or write, he uses words throughout the day he doesn't even know the meaning to, using them out of context, trying to sound intelligent, but in truth, he sounds ridiculous. His days and nights are spent doing two things: looking at pornographic books with an obsession and looking through comic books. That's it. Case closed. No more, no less. Porn and comics. He sells pornography books, he trades pornography books, and he does the same thing with comic books. At 44 years old, trapped in prison, this is his life. Naturally, the people he attracts are into the same things. Birds of a feather flock together. His company that arrives are as ignorant and as competent as him himself. His common sense or lack thereof is another tragic joke. I've had to teach him how to quietly shut the room door without slamming it. Every time he walks in and out, bam, bam. After politely telling him about 10 times over several days and it never sinking into his brain matter, I finally had to tell him in a way that seized his door slamming. Maybe I should talk about the time I walked in the room to find him jerking off in his bed. Remember, we're talking about an animal here, my friends. Needless to say, he knows better now. Should I talk about the time I was in the top bunk sleeping and was awoken by the noise of him sitting in his bed with his two friends talking? Hello? I am in bed sleeping, and he has two friends sitting on the bed looking at pornography with him. Let me repeat the facts so you really have a clear perspective. I'm living in a two-man, double-bunked room, which is extremely small, with a 44-year-old gay man whose life is about porn, comic books, jerking off, and he has to be taught not to slam the door. During the course of the day, he'll ask me the craziest questions. As an example, the officer will scream extremely loudly, informing us that it's time to eat. On the chow! This is done the same time every day, so you could hear him from 3 blocks away. My bunkie will turn to me and ask, did they just call chow? Should I talk about the 7 or 8 times he's left the room and locked the door behind him as I'm still in here? The door only locks from the outside, my friends. Should we talk about the 10 times he's hunted me down in the yard, in the gym, in my program, to tell me he left his key in the room and needed mine because he was now locked out? This guy has the same brain as a can of corn. I wasn't surprised when I asked him, Dave, what do you plan on doing when you get released? What do you mean, he asked. What are you going to do for work? I guess I'll go on social services, welfare, Section 8, and food stamps. If it were raining pussy, I'd get hit in the head with a cock. I have approached officers and sergeants in attempts to be moved into my own room without telling them why, just telling them that I need my own space. The responses are always the same. Give me your information and I'll look into it. This has been fruitless. I am informed that they are working on the list, but a fact is a fact regardless if someone chooses to believe it or not. And the fact is, I have watched with my own 2 eyes people who arrived in this facility weeks after me move into their own cells already. The excuse is that they had medical reasons, mental health reasons, maybe in 2% of cases. I guess these guys that arrived after me know people or work for the right people. They're either rats, whatever the case may be, but that list isn't followed. It makes me wonder sometimes. Here I am. I've served 15 years straight so far in prison with a pretty good disciplinary record. I don't gamble, don't smoke, don't do drugs. I spend my days reading, writing, studying psychology, and trying to educate and help those around me. Prisoners, of course. Whatever job I do it properly. I go above and beyond because when I do something right. I am respectful. I serve my time like a man. But nobody cares. Nobody gives a shit. It seems they're too busy appeasing the majority of animals who sit in here looking at porn, watching basketball and rap music, blaming everything on the next man. They say what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. But as we know, if it were raining pussy, I'd get hit in the head with a dick. Well, after 2 months of living with the fag, he was given his own room over 2 weeks ago. Wait, I thought they were going by a list. I came from Mid-Orange with this guy. I was handcuffed to him coming over here. I went through the draft room with him. We picked up our room keys together. So how in the world was he given his own room almost 3 weeks ago, yet my ass is still sitting in the top bunk? Can someone answer this question for me, please? 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 This prison is working just like the free world. The rights go to the next man. This punk is relaxing in his own room with his dirty feet up, looking at his porn and comic books. Well, you would think with him moving, they would at least have the decency to move me from the top bunk to the bottom bunk, right? Come on, don't be silly. Do I have to mention my luck again? Moving to the bottom bunk would make too much sense. I tried. I asked. But it falls on deaf ears. What? You thought the story was over? Several days ago, after about 15 more rooms were filled with in-house moves into single rooms, I've been given a new bunkie. I have now graduated from the fag to a seriously mentally ill 54-year-old man. And when I say mentally ill, I'm not kidding. All the guy does is drink coffee and smoke cigarettes day and night and day. He talks to himself, and he can't sit still. Last night at midnight, as I'm sleeping, I wake up to the guy literally tapping me on my shoulder. When I look over at him, not believing that this fucking guy is actually waking me up out of my sleep at 12 o'clock at night. He says, "Hi, do you mind if I read the newspaper?" I rolled over and went back to sleep. The next thing you know, I hear all this noise. The guy is in his locker, moving things around, making coffee, opening the locker, closing his locker, opening the locker. And it's 3:30 in the morning. He walks out of the room, slamming the door, then walks back in, makes noise, walks back out, then back in. 42 times in 15 minutes. Yes, I'm not kidding you. I counted. At 3:30 in the morning, this guy walked in and out of the room 42 times in 15 minutes. This took place until 5 o'clock in the morning. I had to lay in bed biting my lip, doing my best to maintain discipline because I wanted to put that guy through the wall. I ended up with 1 hour sleep because I wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning to work in the prison's laundry. When I came back from work and tried to take a nap, the guy was in and out of the room so many times I had to actually leave the room because I was going to hurt somebody. You can read this story and laugh. You can read this and think it's funny. But after 15 fucking years in prison, I had enough of this shit, and I must maintain control because every man has his breaking point. The only thing I know for sure, I'm 100% positive of, is that if it were raining pussy, I would get hit in the head with a dick. That's a true story.